What's up, friends and followers? This is Amir sending lots of love from my home to you out there in Cyberland. It's a cold, wet, windy day here in Binyamina in the land of Israel, but my heart is warm and my spirit is lifted by the fact that I got to guide yesterday the most important tour I've ever guided in my entire career. I've welcomed hundreds of groups and travelers to Israel, touring and tasting our way around this tremendous little country of ours. But my heart and soul is in education, and I learned to be a tour guide, guiding birthright trips in school, high school, grade school, everyone under the sun in a educational environment. And so yesterday I guided my daughter's class. Gaia Bar Maor Katz is my little girl, and she is a second grader, Kita Bet, in the Binyamina Bereshit school. And her teacher asked me, Amir, would you come and work your magic and charm and entertain and educate these young minds? And of course I said yes. How could I not? What a wonderful opportunity, a challenge to both honor my daughter and her peers who I know and love and welcome in my home and support in every which way I can. But this was indeed something special for me because I'm guiding them in their hometown. The children who my daughter calls her friends, the little boys and girls who run around and are able to bring joy to each other's lives in their own home turf. I guided them here in Binyamina, in a place that I've taken my little girl many times. And so, not wanting to make this experience redundant, it forced me to innovate and to be creative with regards to which games and which activities and which stories I could tell so I wouldn't repeat myself. And I could keep my little girl, the ultimate client, entertained. She smiled and held my hand some of the time. She made mischief and knuckle-headed around with her kin, and all was welcome. Because teaching young children about Israel and the Holy Land and their homes and their backyards and what they can get out of running away from the classroom sometimes and into nature and to frolic amongst the trees and be playful is something that is simply sacred, as far as I'm concerned. Indeed, in this technologically plugged-in generation, we have to figure out how to get our kids out into the wild. We need to push boundaries and allow them to broaden their horizons with regards to what they determine is fun, not just behind a screen, but somehow lost in the woods. We walked from Ein Sur, the ancient Roman ruins in the back of my home here in Binyamina, all the way through the Carmel forest onto a place called Ramat HaNadiv. And it was an interesting transition because I was able to engage with these kids, more or less us all together, not so many other people with whom we cross paths. And then all of a sudden we arrive at Ramat HaNadiv, the botanical gardens, and there's hundreds of people all over the place. For a couple of hours we were together in nature, isolated, and amongst the trees and listening to the birds chirping and the frogs frogging and all the little sounds and smells and sensory wonder that can be captured in a natural environment. And it was wonderful. And it was special for me as a guide to lead my little girl. Then all of a sudden I had to share that space with other groups and other people and other visitors in the botanical gardens, and that was an important transition to highlight for these young minds. What happens when all of a sudden we have to share these spaces? What happens when other groups are there when we wish to be in a certain place and have to coalesce with other kinfolk and our countrymen from other places around Israel? And it was good because I taught them to send blessings to the groups from Rahat, the Bedouin visitors to the botanical gardens, and how to say Kif el hal, how are you, in Arabic. And we met older people and younger people, and it was simply a wonderful excursion of children learning from nature, learning from their guide, me, the father of one of them, and learning from one another how to enjoy the experience of being on a tiyul, on a trip, trekking around nature, learning from the botanical gardens, seeing the difference between God's fingerprint in the wild as plants and shrubs and bushes grow here, there, and everywhere, into a manicured and cultivated garden that is the reflection of human endeavor. This was our journey. This was our day together, to make young children smile and laugh and be playful, to encourage and support them when they stumble and took a fall, to come together as a classroom. And I taught them Am Echad Lev Echad, one people, one heart. And they're together in the classroom in their education for the next few years, because here in Israel, the grades stay together. That will be her classroom, and those will be her peers for the next years. Nina, the pearl of second grade that her class is called. And they were indeed outstanding. And I relished the opportunity to guide as a volunteer along with my wife. Her pointing the different plants and shrubs, and her knowledge as an herbologist was able to enhance the overall trip experience. She has an acute sense of understanding of the different plants and the different leaves that are edible, that are medicine unto themselves, and she taught these children about these things. And I taught children about Israeli history and culture and nature and trees and all kinds of wonderful things that we could engage with. And it was good, and it was special, and it was meaningful. And I was grateful for a guide with too much free time that I've been spending volunteering and running around the country and doing as much as I can while tourism is at an all-time low. And it was good to guide. It was good to take money and the monetary element out of the equation and keep it pure, simply as a parent of a child leading her group of kids into their Jewish education, around their backyard, up onto the Carmel, to discover wonders. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being here with me and allowing me to share my adventures with the children, with guests who come and will come back, God willing, soon enough, in times of war, with lots of love. My name is Amir Katz, and this is Beyond Israel Travel. Thank you for listening. L'chaim.